All right, everyone, welcome back to the Sooner Surge for another OU football practice report. But before we get started, make sure you go ahead and click the subscribe button because YouTube's analytics tell us that 78.4% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you haven't already, make sure to go click the subscribe button. We appreciate all of you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and drop your comments throughout the video in the comment section. But while we get started, the first thing that I saw on Twitter, one of the, the most recent thing I saw on Twitter was the Peyton Bowen interception. So he picked off former high school teammate and now college teammate Jackson Arnold. So it was an impressive pick.
Yeah, and I think I actually talked about Peyton Bowen not that long ago whenever George Stoya was talking about him. And he said that basically he sees a lot of Pat Surtain in his feet. He floats whenever he runs. That's what it looks like. So Peyton Bowen was obviously a five-star safety come out of Texas out of high school. Just a guy that OU was in the battle with till the very end. They got him. It was a must get for Oklahoma at the time. And so you just talk about really a guy that Brandon Hall, I think, is going to develop into a potential first-round draft pick one day. You talk about having the likes of him, Billy Bowman Jr., Reggie Pearson, and Robert Spears-Jennings, and Key Lawrence all in that safety room. That's an extremely deep room. And I also think that Peyton Bowen also yesterday, whenever he spoke with the media, just very impressive.
Yeah, how nice is it to have freshmen talk to the media? Man, do not miss that from Lincoln Riley's years. What a waste! And I even hate talking about Lincoln Riley being here, but that was the most dumb rule I've ever seen in my life. Sorry.
Yep.
Speaking of Bowen's high school teammate, Jackson Arnold, he came out and said today, he feels like the game is slowing down for him, which is, awesome to hear because not only is he the backup quarterback, but he's just a freshman. So the fact that, Jackson Arnold is getting into his groove, and I know he threw that pick to Peyton Bowen, but, let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of interceptions thrown to Peyton Bowen.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But Jackson Arnold says right here, according to Brian Clinton, that he just says the game feels slower. And that's one of those promising signs, according to, Saturday's scrimmage, he was, more comfortable. He felt better with his receivers, specifically Nick Anderson. Watch out by stock. Nick Anderson is a dog. But Jackson Arnold getting into the groove of things is big for the Sooners so that, Dillon Gabriel has that backup behind him that knows what he's doing, that feels comfort and is more confident than, last year was. Because if Jackson Arnold can come into a game and it's not like, okay, this kid's a freshman, what's going to happen? If he can come into a game and, it feels slow and he knows what he's doing, it's going to be a lot different than last year, especially with just the talent that he possesses.
Yeah, and with Jackson Arnold, we saw it in the spring game. As the game progressed, you saw Jackson Arnold get more confident, get better pocket awareness, start to make more throws deep down the field, get more aggressive. Let's talk about a guy in Arnold who came in at the time, a five-star freshman, had all the hype. But also, I think it's helped in the spring and in the fall, him being able to learn also from Dillon Gabriel, being in that backup quarterback role. Honestly, going into the season, maybe more advanced than some freshmen due to just he's morally pure talented, plus the mentorship role that Dillon Gabriel has taken on for him.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Arnold has another challenge that Dillon Gabriel doesn't have. He's playing with the second-team offensive line when not even Jacob Sexton's not healthy right now. So he's playing with a banged-up second-team O-line essentially. We saw it in the spring game. He didn't have much time. So it's a great sign to just be able to see him say the game is slowing down for him.
Yeah, and Peyton Bowen. I mean, all you need to know about Peyton Bowen is how much information they're feeding this guy with different positions he's looking at. I mean, this guy is a true freshman. The fact that they're able to just inundate this guy with information tells you all you need to know about Peyton Bowen. The guy's heady. The guy can take it in. He's unlike any other true freshman that's ever been down there at that position because you don't just feed guys that much information their freshman year.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much impossible to keep him off of the field in one way or another. If he's not saying he's going to start at safety, the depth is there, but he's going to work in some time there. Last week they talked about him taking some reps even at cheetah, and then punt returns another option. Peyton Bowen is going to be on the field as a freshman, and it's going to be exciting wherever he's at because the things that he's able to do, most upperclassmen are not able to do, and he's doing it as a freshman.
Yeah, and speaking of the special teams role, I know that Peyton Bowen talked about that he was in the depth chart and they're competing for those spots. And he said in his interview today or yesterday post practice that he just kind of wants to get an opportunity to compete in special teams on the field. And I've talked about this so many times. But Oklahoma, all these guys are taken out of high school, whether it's defensive backs or wide receivers or running backs. They all play special teams. So I would not be shocked to see Peyton Bowen potentially contribute on kick or punt return this year. But I do think that Peyton Bowen is going to have a major role. And I would not be shocked by the Texas game if Peyton Bowen is taking starter snaps but not actually starting.
I mean, I could see that too. I just wonder. I think it depends on how. I just wonder if they're going to want to put him in that position and risk injury. There's no doubt in my mind he would be awesome at it. But are there other players that may not be playing as much on defense or offense that could play that role and do it really good? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one thing that last year that wasn't the case. The starters were returning kicks. I've always said I wanted it to be the backups doing it because last year Billy Bowman went down, and I mean that really derailed the entire defense without Billy Bowman. Peyton Bowen though is interesting on it because of just how elite of a returner he is. Like in high school, I mean, you could very well make the argument for him last year that he was the best returner in the entire country because of just everything he was able to do at Denton Guyer last year. So it is interesting. I would like for kind of a clarity, like as we're getting closer to the season. I know this morning or afternoon, Wednesday, there's the second scrimmage of fall camp. So hopefully maybe in the following days after that, they're starting to get a better feel for the special teams unit, and we'll put out kind of where the feeling is going to be on the entire special team unit.
Yeah, and hey, another thing that you saw maybe today on Twitter, John Hoover put out just the announcement about Ethan Downs being on another preseason watch list, and we actually tweeted that out about it. It seems like he's getting a little more national attention than local attention, which is maybe shocking. I went through and looked at last year's numbers. He actually led the Sooners in tackles for losses, guys, and his sacks weren't bad. And listen, that number should go up because the whole unit's going to be better. And the fact that if you saw the picture of him, guys, he has put on some muscle and strength. And I'll be the first to say I may have been a little down on Ethan Downs, pun not intended there, but this guy could have an unbelievable season. And I think Sooner fans might be shocked by it, honestly.
Yeah, but you know what? One of the hardest workers on the team, you put that with a good athlete and putting on muscle. To me, there's only one direction you can go. It's up. That's it. And so Ethan Downs is going to have a way better year this year because he's just going to keep improving every year because he's a hard worker, man. That's what the guy is. Hard worker, great character, great leader, does whatever coaches ask, coachable. You heard Bothroyd say it the other day, or Trace Ford say it, between Rondell Bothroyd and Ethan Downs. Those are two leaders on that defensive line. So,
yeah, I would say with Downs, I think I'm definitely more impressed with him than I was intending on being coming into the season because, you know, he was good last year. He was probably the best player on that defensive line. And coming into this season, though, you have so much talent on the edge room. I was a little – I will admit as well, as Jeremy said, like I was a little down on Downs. But it kind of puts in retrospect, like, the fact that we can be down on a guy like that we don't have to worry like, okay, Ethan Downs absolutely is going to be on the field every single play. We can't say that anymore. Like guys like Ethan Downs aren't on the field every play, and that's definitely a good thing. I think with him being able to actually breathe this year, get off the field, you know, specialize in what he specializes, which that being run defense is going to be huge for his game because Ethan Downs, as much as he is, you know, a serviceable pass rusher, when you have guys in the room like R. Mason Thomas, PJ Adebawar, Rondell Bothroyd, Trace Ford, when you have guys in the room that are better pass rushers than him, and he can specialize in that run defense and being such a threat off the edge to anybody that tries to get outside, it's just having an advantage, especially with Ethan Downs being as good as a player as he is. So I think as good as and all the national attention he's getting, I think that it's such a good thing that we can afford to be down on him, because that just shows the amount of talent that we have in that edge room.
And with Ethan Downs this offseason, he actually lost 10 to 15 pounds in order to become more of a mobile defensive end. And I know that there was talks in the offseason about will we see Ethan Downs potentially move inside. And as you said, maybe we were down on Ethan Downs, but really the talk was which out of these two guys would lose their spot? Would it be Ethan Downs or would it be Reggie Grimes? Because last year, the first 3 games, you thought Reggie Grimes would have been first team All-American with how he was playing. And then after that, it just kind of was like Grimes just really kind of, I wouldn't say it fell off, but you just didn't see the same level of production. And with Grimes, it's will he even get the opportunity to contribute in this edge room this year just due to the depth? And if he does contribute, I expect it to just be in situational football.
If Ethan Downs lost 10 to 15 pounds, for every pound he lost, he put on about 2 pounds of muscle, man.
Yeah.
Because I saw the picture, dude. He does not look the same. He doesn't look like he lost a lot of weight.
Captain America, man. Captain America. Yeah. Hey, another thing that was announced, Lindsay Street, boys. Tailgating. Back.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably should have put the shirt on. I got it in my dresser here, the Eddie Radosevich Street.
Well, hey, Eddie finally got it done, guys. He did.
Yes,
It's crazy. I didn't think the day would come to where Eddie was able to win that battle, one that did not seem like a winnable battle with how much tailgating went corporate over the past however many years it has been.
Had to be done.
It would be interesting to see how the tailgating environment changes. And I know, Hunter, you're there at the University of Oklahoma currently. And I know you probably are looking forward to week 1 just to see the tailgating environment versus Arkansas State on Lindsay and on Jenkins and everything that goes into that. So I think it's good that Oklahoma is realizing that, hey, we need to step up our tailgating game massive going into the SEC. I knew it was going to be a matter of time before they opened up Lindsay, but I was kind of shocked they did it this year, maybe this early. But I think it shows that Joseph Harris and Joe Castiglione, they know what needs to be done in Oklahoma, needs to improve its tailgating atmosphere to even help on the recruiting side as well.
Yeah, my hope is that this is just the beginning. I'm hoping that for next year it's expanded even more, because the SEC is just a different breed. Like, again, I'm not 100% sure, but I would say as of right now, OU probably has the worst tailgating out of every team in the SEC. Like,
Vanderbilt.
Us or Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt's not.
Might have some good stuff. I'm not sure on that.
Hey, I got a buddy that lives about a mile from Ole Miss campus.
Yeah, it's insane.
And he told me when OU comes down there and joins the SEC, he's got us. We can join him.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
that place. Is insane.
Yeah, it's a wild.
I think it's the best there is as far as tailgating.
Yeah, I mean the Grove, or there's Death Valley, or there's at Neyland Stadium in Tennessee. I mean, just 3 of the best environments. It's incredible.
And then the other thing announced, OU DNA is coming back. Season 1, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Excited. I did not expect it to come back. I figured it would have already been announced. It seems like last year they started it earlier, but maybe not. Maybe
it died down at the end of the year.
Yeah,
it died down because they started losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it.
Last year, I believe they started, I feel like, in the summer.
That's what I was thinking too. I thought
So
the first episode aired after the first week of fall camp, not 2 weeks in. But I mean, last year, you go to the K-State loss, then TCU, and then Texas. Like, you can't keep it going. It's not going to be must-see TV at that point.
As you guys said, scrimmage today, this afternoon. So Real quick before we close this thing up, just maybe spend about 30 seconds each. What's maybe one nugget thing you're looking for in this scrimmage?
I'll start. I'm looking for Nick Anderson. You know, his frame, his ability to high point the football. Nick Anderson is going to be really good. If he can stay on the field and he can progress as just a receiver as a whole, Nick Anderson is a guy to watch to be a starter late in the season.
I'll go next. I'm kind of watching the tight end room. Other than Stogner, okay. Heard from the last scrimmage, and guys have been playing well.
Hampton Fay.
Yeah, BB mentioned different guys that have transferred in besides Cade McIntyre, but I'm just kind of waiting to hear what they say after this scrimmage. If any other guys, I'm waiting to hear about Caden Helms and Jason Llewellyn. See if you hear their name more.
Well, I think Caden Helms may still be banged up. I don't know if he's fully cleared yet. But I'll go next. I'm looking forward to see if the defensive line can respond, because we heard in the first scrimmage that the offensive line kind of had their way. So I'm looking forward to seeing if the interior of the defensive line can respond to the interior of the offensive line and see if maybe they can cause a lot of disruption in the run game.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm looking kind of along the lines of what Taylor said. Really, who can separate themselves as wide receiver 3? That's the one that's really up for grabs right now. I know Andrell Anthony had a really good first scrimmage, kind of separating himself in that way for that nod. But you also have Nick Anderson if he's healthy. He's one that could be starting there. You got Jaquez Pettaway that's been just the talk of all summer, the true freshman. So I'm interested to see who can kind of separate themselves at wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if the offensive line can bounce back from the last scrimmage, because apparently, the D line was kind of dominating them in those short yardage situations or in many different situations. So hopefully you can see I don't know how much we'll be able to. I don't know if we'll see anything except the highlight video they put out, but just from what's said across like different podcasts or different, radios, hopefully you can hear that just a better performance, I guess, on both sides in the trenches too.
Yeah.
You always want to see the D-line and the O-line succeed. That's kind of how you win football games.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like in these scrimmages, if you hear that the defense is doing good, a lot of OU fans have the reaction like, oh, the offense sucks. Offense isn't very good. Dylan Gabriel, we need to use Jackson on all this. But it's like if the offense is good, it's just like, oh, here we go, the same old defense. So it's like just because maybe one unit outperforms the other in one scrimmage, that necessarily isn't going to define who the opposite unit is going to be the upcoming season.
Yeah, and I think before we close here, I really want to see the backup. I want to hear names of Kip Lewis, Lewis Carter, Kobe McKenzie. Which one of those guys are kind of maybe separate themselves, because we know Kanik and Stutzman are there, but we really haven't heard tons of those other guys. So I want to maybe hear one of them separate themselves. So, yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure you click the button, guys. Lindsey Street, great again. It's a great day to be a Sooner. We'll catch you up on the flip side after the scrimmage for a little report. Till next time, guys. Boomer.